Hi, I'm John Decker, PGA instructor and author of the book, Golf is My Life, Glorifying God Through the Game. Today I want to talk to you about a divot and the divots that you're making with your irons in particular. The first thing that I want you to understand is that you should make a divot when you're hitting with an iron. Typically what you want to do is, this is the loft of the club, if this is the golf ball, I want to create a descending blow to get the ball in the air. And this means that I'm going to take turf. The first thing that I look at with my divot is, number one, do I make a divot? Obviously, I've just hit a shot right there, and I've got a divot, so I know that I made a divot. The second thing that I want to do is I want to see the location of my divot. And so a lot of times when I'm practicing, I'll put a stick, alignment aid on the ground, and I'll put the ball just like this, and then I'll hit my shot and I'll see if my divot is in front of that line. I want my divot location to be in front. So number one, do I make a divot? Yes. Number two, I want the divot in front of the stick. I do not want my divot behind the stick. The more behind the stick I hit, the less power I'll get. So if I miss it by just a little bit, it's going to translate into lost distance out in the fairway or toward the green. The third thing I look at is the direction of my divot. A lot of times when I watch golf on television, a player will hit a shot, maybe they don't hit a shot they like. They'll walk behind the ball and they'll look at their divot because they know what they do in their golf swing. I know, for example, when I don't swing well, my divots tend to aim too much to the left of the target. Other players may aim too much to the right. Some players may not make the divot in the right location. So it's important that you, again, do you make a divot? It's number one. Number two, is your divot in front of the ball, the location? Number three is the direction of the divot. And then the fourth thing I look at is the depth of the divot. I want my divots to be level to the ground. Doesn't matter if I'm on an uphill lie, downhill lie, I want my divots level to the ground. I don't want my divot to look like a swimming pool where I have a shallow end and a deep end. I want my divots to be level with the ground. So when I practice, and this is also very good etiquette when you practice, make sure that you're hitting from the same spot. I get a lot of students, they'll hit a shot, and then they'll hit their next shot over here, and they'll hit their next shot over here, and their next shot over here. That's tearing up the driving range tee, and I know that your golf course superintendent and your club professional are not going to like that. So try to hit from the same spot because it's much easier from a maintenance standpoint for them to come in and fix it. So when I do this, not only am I taking care of the golf course, but I'm gathering valuable information. I've made 2 swings, and I have 2 divots that are very level. And many times when I look at my students, they'll make one swing that's real shallow, and then they'll make the next swing that's real deep. And so if I'm not getting the correct depth to my divot, then I know I'm not rotating properly. So it gives me valuable feedback. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my shots. Number one, did I make a divot? Yes, I did. Number two, is my divot in front of the stick? Yes, it is. Number three, is my divot going in the direction of my target? Yes, it is. And it should go in the direction, it should go just slightly left of the target. And that one is. And then the fourth thing is the divot, the correct depth. Yes, if anything, that one was a little more on the thin side, but it was very close to the same depth. So overall, when I'm grading myself there, I look at those 4 categories and I give myself, all right, I did that properly. What you want to start doing is you want to have this information, and what I would suggest doing is taking about 15 minutes, and what you should do is hit your shots and then just grade yourself in those 4 areas. Are you making a divot? Is your divot in front of the ball? Is your divot going just slightly left of the target? And is the depth of your divot correct? And just to have a little tip here about, people may say, what's the depth of my divot? If I look at the weight of this club, the weight is about this deep right here in the back. So this whole area up here is very hollow. It's not very powerful. All the weight is in the bottom. Most clubs that are built now, the weight is in the bottom. So I want to get that, if I put that in the ground, I want to have a divot that has that depth. I don't want a divot this deep, and I don't want a divot this deep. So I want it to be the same depth as the weighting on the back of my club. And every club is different out there. That's something that you could ask your club professional about, and he could take a look at your clubs to help you with that. But grade yourself on your divots. And then when you go take a lesson, go to your club professional and say, you know, I figured out I hit 30 shots or 40 shots or whatever, and I graded and I made a divot only 25% of the time. Well, that might be a ball position issue. Or I made a divot 100% of the time, but every divot went left and was deep. Well, that's a swing path issue. Or I made a divot every time, but half the time they were over here and half the time they were over here. Well, that's a weight shift issue. So now when you go to your club professional and you take a lesson, now your club professional has a really idea what you do. Because what I do is anytime I work with a student, especially a new student that I don't know, when I walk out, and I'm assuming that they're warming up, when I walk out in their area, I'm like a crime scene investigator. I'm looking at their ground. I'm looking at the area and seeing, are they making divots? Where are they making divots? I can tell a lot by the divot. Understand your divots, start paying attention to your divots, and you're going to improve your game.